Hey, my name is Rowan Smith and I want to welcome you to the Training for Trekking podcast. Now, this is the world's very first podcast which is entirely dedicated to helping you train, prepare and conquer your upcoming hike, trek or mountain adventure. So once a week, I'm going to be giving you quality and practical information on the subjects of physical preparation for trekking, dealing with altitude and nutrition on the trail, so you can know everything you need to be doing to have the best chance of a safe, enjoyable and successful adventure. So now you know what you're in for. Let's get into today's episode.
Alright, hello guys. Today we are talking all about the great hiking pole debate. And I've talked about this previously on the podcast a few different times, but this is a subject that comes up again and again and again online. And it's something that comes up almost every month. And basically someone puts up a post mentioning about, whether hiking poles are good or not, or maybe recommending them to someone. And it starts off this massive debate with people firmly in two camps. There's some people who absolutely swear by their poles and they never leave home without them. And they say it helps their knees, their feet, that helps them feel, more confident, more balanced and yada yada. On the other side of things, there's these people who say, look, using poles when you're hiking, it's just putting your legs at a disadvantage and you should be out hiking without the poles so you can strengthen up your knees and strengthen up your joints naturally. And it is a debate that needs discussing because a lot of people seem to have, strong opinions about this, and there does seem to be a lot of misinformation going around. So essentially, to start off with, the benefits of hiking poles and the benefits of trekking poles, really it comes down to a few key benefits. Now, number one, it has been shown in a number of studies to take a significant amount of force off the lower joints when going downhill. And specifically, we're talking about the knees, and specifically, we're talking about the feet. So if you're walking and hiking along downhill and you do have issues in those two areas, having some poles with you can make a pretty big difference. Number two, it's been shown to improve movement efficiency and improve your perception of exercise and difficulty, meaning it's going to feel easier when you're going up hills. So actually when you're hiking up hills, your body is a bit more efficient and it will feel a lot easier. And there are studies to back that up. And then finally, as we all know, it can help improve your balance and stability. So if you do have issues with that, if you've got unstable terrain, if you have had a couple of slip, stumbles or falls, they can be pretty beneficial in that area. And there are a few other bits and pieces which you can be getting out on poles, but they're probably the big ones. Now, on the other side of things, what people tend to talk about is whenever this debate comes up is they say, look, when it comes to knee pain or foot pain especially, or joint pain especially, I should say, the old recommendation for a lot of people who are dealing with issues, whether it was arthritis, osteoarthritis, or injuries, or whatever it may be, was in any way, shape, or form, you need to be taking load off these joints so they can rest, so they can recover. And if you are putting load on those joints, it's going to cause pain and discomfort. Now, that was the old school way of thinking. Now, these days, there is a lot of evidence to show that smart loading in regards to your knees and other joints, if you're dealing with sort of osteoarthritis or arthritis or other aches and pains, smart loading can be very, very beneficial for a number of reasons. So it can be beneficial purely for pain relief. It can be beneficial for, maintaining and even building up, connective tissue in those joints. It can be beneficial for, building up supportive structures around those joints as well. And that is smart loading. So the argument for the people who say you shouldn't be using your poles is that, like, if you're just going out and hiking and only using your poles, you're never going to put enough load through those joints to get them to strengthen up on their own. So then you're going to be entirely reliant on the poles for the rest of your life. And if something happens, if a pole snaps, then you're in trouble. But there is definite truth to that, and you do need to be putting force through your joints to build them up and get them used to day-to-day life and all of that. But it is no reason not to be using poles, in my personal opinion. Now, if you are worried about, your cartilage, your connective tissues, if you do deal with some type of issue around the joints, you can load those up absolutely well enough, and probably arguably better than loading them up with hiking without poles, by just doing normal training. So doing strength training is always going to be so beneficial in these areas. Doing, loaded pack walks, doing hill intervals or stair intervals, or doing whatever the stuff we're talking about during the week that we're always talking about on this podcast, and playing them out and doing that in a structured and progressive way is going to be amazing in those particular areas. And if you do have major issues or you have significant issues, there are specific protocols you can do, say with strength training, that can make a difference here. But when you're actually out hiking, you don't need to worry about strengthening up your legs. You don't need to worry about loading up your joints. You're just going out and enjoying yourself. So use your poles, stay comfortable, stay efficient. And I highly, highly, highly recommend anyone who does have lower limb issues to use your poles pretty much most times you're going out on the trail. It's not going to hold you back. It's not going to hold back your development. It's not going to put you at risk of further issues further down the line, as long as you are doing training through the week. Now, it may be a different story if you're completely inactive, 5 days or 6 days a week, and then go out and hike once a week. That might be a different story, but, that's just not recommended for so many different situations and different reasons. So when it comes down to it, when this debate does come out, yes, it is important to load up the joints, and yes, it is important to teach the body to absorb force and respond to forces, but you don't need to worry about that while you're hiking. Do that with your strength training, do that with your normal training. And when you're actually hiking, use poles if that makes you feel better. And if you've got a lower limb issue, absolutely use poles either way. And I think it really is as simple as that. So next time this debate comes out, next time you see this pop up, next time someone asks you about it, hopefully you have a pretty good idea of sort of where both sides are coming from and where both arguments are coming from. And you can hopefully make your decision to be somewhere in the middle. So I hope that all makes sense today, guys. I hope you did get a little bit out of it. I hope it cleared up this one particular query, which does come up in the hiking world quite often. If anyone wants anything expanded on this episode today, you have any further questions or just want some advice in regards to anything we've mentioned or any other training, come and find me on the Training for Hiking and Trekking Facebook group. Inside that group, I'm always happy to expand on things, always happy to lead into extra tutorials or whatever it may be. So I'll leave a link for that in the show notes below, which is the Training for Hiking and Trekking Facebook group. I hope to see you there. So thanks for so much for listening today, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.